What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of FLAmerica, Flamengo champions of the Copa do Brasil. How you doing, Leo?
I'm doing great. Couldn't be better, Rafa.
Wait. Don't mean to cut you off. I think I hear something. Do you hear that? Please rise for your 2024 Copa do Brasil champions Flamengo!
Uma vez Flamengo, sempre Flamengo sempre.
How are you doing? Beautiful win for the team yesterday. Second leg won 1-0, brought it home, a historical victory for the Copa do Brasil. Today we'll cover the championship, how it happened, Gabigol's exit at the end of the game, all the big chances, all the standout players and more. But just give me 10 seconds of this music, please.
Sempre amado, mas cotado nunca fui. É o ai Jesus, eu teria desgosto profundo.
Let's get into it. It was wild seeing all the celebrations yesterday after the final whistle. Flamengo fans were absolutely buzzing. I know we were watching it here. Leo, what did you think of the atmosphere of the result and how everything unfolded?
Hey, Rafa, couldn't have been better, right? What a game, what a performance. I loved everything about it. Well, certainly about Flamengo, where there are some unfortunate lowlights for the match itself, which we will cover. But hey, listen, this is about celebration. This is about to honor the legacy of the champions being back in the block. I'm wearing my 1987 replica jersey as a tribute to what was also one of the best Flamengo team ever, and a team that took it to Atlético Mineiro in Belo Horizonte on, oddly enough, on a very similar fashion that we did yesterday. Renato Gaúcho did back then perhaps what Plata did yesterday. So there we go, 5th title of the Copa do Brasil, now one behind our friends Cruzeiro, which is just sweet irony for Atletico. So let's get into it and let's recap what was a wonderful result for Flamengo.
Let's go. And you mentioned you wearing the historic 87 jersey. I'm wearing the historic 2019 jersey. You know, the reason why I had to bring it out for today is you could feel from the fans, you could feel from the players, the return of that 2019 energy, baby. You know, the sense of the unity among the squad. Within the last couple minutes of the game, the TV panning to all the Flamengo players at the bench, you know, arms around each other, jumping, singing along to the music with the fans, gave me chills. It was epic. You know, that's really what stood out to me, you know, the sense of the unity among the squad. I don't know if it's because, you know, they played with Felipe Luis and it's someone who they want to get behind. You know, Flamengo historically has the players alter how hard they play based on how much they like their coach, which, like it or not, that's just how Flamengo has been historically. But that just really stood out to me. Almost felt like a reminder of those glory days of the Jorge Jesus. And finally, maybe we can flip the page for the new Felipe Luis. So getting into the game, you know, a lot of missed chances, right? Might be you know, the fact that we missed a lot of chances, or the fact that, you know, you got to give merit and credit where it's due to Mineiro's keeper, right? Everson, we definitely had our chance to put the game to bed a lot earlier than we did. You know, a few shots that went wide, some key saves from their keeper. What did you think of that and how that all unfolded?
100%, Rafa. You know, if we're going to talk about men of the match, I would say there are 2 men of the match. One of them in the field, it would be the Atlético Mineiro's keeper, Everson. He pretty much stopped what would otherwise be a much wider score and a much easier match. Now, off the pitch, if you're going to include that, then I would say Felipe Luis, without a doubt, carries the day, right? What a superb performance by the team. The way he set the team up, the way he approached the game, a little bit like we were talking on the pre-game video, and also how he responded to how the game evolved. The substitutions, you can see that when you have a coach that knows what he's doing, he's not worried about how popular or unpopular his decisions are. Gabigol scored 2 goals on the first leg. You know, a big threat up front. He was not having a good game. His timing was off. There were 2 instances where you would expect him to, put the ball in the net and bring it home, but he didn't. So he was off. And maybe because, we'll get to that, he was already getting ready to make his announcement, his departure announcement. But Felipe Luis did not hesitate. He brought him out at halftime. And he didn't wait to do that later, which saved them one of the substitution windows. Even that is thought of. So the whole entire way in which the match was managed was superb. The team played very well, very consistent. And if it was not for the Atletico keeper, it might have been a much wider score. So
yeah, yep. And I think if we're being honest, obviously the score, like we said, could have been a lot higher, but a win's a win, a championship's a championship. Don't care how we could have gotten it, right? Scrape tooth and nail for it. But let's talk about the standouts for the match. Everton Araújo, the young kid, he was everywhere. Alexandro playing just
absolutely
with a suit and tie on, right? The leadership from him, the experience. I mean, it was magnificent. I want to say, Hossi's Argentinian tendencies to do good in finals when we need a little bit of minutes wasted and savored was amazing. Plata's flair, Wesley's energy. Who stood out to you? I could keep going on.
Yeah, we could go through the whole team. I like the way the team played as a unit, more so the individual performances, although you could outline a few. Absolutely. You look at Alexander, right? You can see somebody who's really experienced, where the pressure doesn't get to him. He knows his spatial awareness is something that you only acquire with top level experience, and you can see that. He did miss a goal that he should have converted, but he's not a striker. So defenders, when they find themselves in scoring chances, they can miss, and all of the other ones that you did mention, right? So again, I don't want to isolate or single out individual performers. I want to commend and applaud the way the team played as a unit. It never felt that this title was in jeopardy. It did not feel that way in the first match. It did not feel that way yesterday. If anything, we were left with the sentiment that perhaps we could have won
by more. Yeah.
Right. And we won both games, right? So it's like hands down, a comprehensive victory, a beautiful title, pretty much saving the year, which otherwise was not anything near what we had hoped for. But again, let's not forget, this puts the seal, stamps our passport on the way to the Libertadores next year. So as we look forward to, first of all, the end of the Brasileirão, let's not forget about that, right? So we're freelancers now, right? We don't have to worry about securing the G4 spot. We're already at Libertadores. So we're going to be the party poopers going forward. You know what I'm saying? So Botafogo and Palmeiras and who knows, Fortaleza will be vying for the title. Botafogo has the Libertadores to worry about. Palmeiras has the league to salvage that year. And we're going to be there, free and easy. But the good thing is that Felipe Luis is not like that. These players are not going to go on vacation right now. They have a job to do, which is to finish the year strong. These guys know that next year, with the Club World Cup, with the Libertadores and everything else, they are going to be part of an environment under Felipe Luis' leadership that they're going to have to earn their spot. Felipe Luis is not afraid to make the decisions that he thinks are the right one. So I'm hoping that on the tail end of this year, throughout the Brasileirão and the matches that are left, these players try to show their best to make sure that they were going to be relied on next year with the great competitions awaiting us.
Yeah, I mean, and you even you mentioned the Club World Cup competition that's happening for the first time next year. We already in having this win for the Copa do Brasil. Now we have the Super Copa do Brasil. That's right. We're going to be able to play against whoever the winner of the Brasileirão is. So we'll be able to start off next year with a potential trophy. Next season has the potential to be huge, right? I'm interested to see what we do in the transfer window. We could speak about that in some upcoming episodes, but I have to bring it back to the biggest play of the evening yesterday, of the afternoon, right? I like to call it almost like a 4-point swing play. For those who don't know what a 4-point swing is in basketball and NBA, let's say you have a really easy shot or scoring opportunity and you miss it, right? And not only did you not score those 2 points, right? A basket's 2 points in basketball. You didn't score it, but then the other team comes out the other end and they score, right? So you could have gone up 2, but instead you went down 2, and that's literally what happened. I mean, that was a critical moment. Hook crosses it in, and our Hossi, our keeper, misses it, and it gets right there for their striker Allan Kardec, and he whiffed it. He absolutely missed it, and on the coattail of that, we go around, counterattack. Bruno Henrique's blistering speed sends Plata through. Plata with an amazing drible da vaca, right? Puts him around the player and chips the keeper. I can feel the team gelling so well. I bet you in 1,000 years, Gabigol is not scoring that goal that Plata scored in that fashion. It was huge. It shifted everything. Leo, could you explain the tactical importance of that play, how it changed momentum, and why it was a game finisher? We know that if they would have scored right there, it would have been a really tough next couple minutes. How important was that 4-point swing?
Yeah, just think about this, right? Quite honestly, Atletico should have scored on that play, just like Flamengo should have scored 55 plays before that, but they didn't. So Atletico could have. Rossi almost delivered a blunder there at the most inappropriate time, but luckily, Allan Kardec just missed a sitter that is hard to explain. Now, imagine that. Imagine if Atletico had scored that goal with 15 minutes to go. The place would have been on fire, and they would have pressed full court press, and who knows, they might have scraped the second one through, and the game could have gone a different way. But the great just the fact that Flamengo scored on the back end of that was just a perfect ending, right? Yeah. And just put the nail in the coffin. That was a game, set, and match. And unfortunately, a little bit of ugly, unfortunate events developed by the Atletico fans, uncalled for. But that play settled it, and that was it. That was game, set, and match.
I'll tell you what, though. I felt it in 2019, and I'm feeling it with this team under Felipe Luis's leadership. All championship teams have some sort of aroma or moments of luck, divine intervention. I don't know what you want to call it, right? And it's pretty cool to see that this team just feels. You just have this amazing feeling, right? You just feel like they're going to win every single game. And you mentioned the fans fighting, the chaos in the stands. Not that everything was perfect. There was a couple of disturbing scenes in the stands. The fans fighting, throwing mini bombs on the field, cups on the field with beer and other substances. We don't know what it is. For those of you who are not familiar, this is Brazilian football at its core, right? There's funny stories. Maybe better not even to mention coming from the actual players, what's happening in their personal life. It feels like Flamengo's alive again, right? The glory days, not all that, politically correct interviews and making sure we play the right players that the president's going to want us to see. No, this is Flamengo, blood, sweat, and tears. Hassa, baby. I know I wasn't around for the big Flamengo glory days other than 2019. Does it feel like the glory days are back?
It feels something has really changed, right? And if you go back in this recent history of success for Flamengo, which we hadn't experienced since the 80s, we had spots of winnings and spots of success, but not like the last few years, with ups and downs. What I do feel, and it's just the beginning, we shall see, next year will be decisive with the number of key competitions. What it's starting to feel like is that Flamengo never really got past the way with which Jorge Jesus left. And a big chunk of the fan base, and who knows, some of the players that are still around, that left a gap. And that gap was never really filled. Of course, we won titles since, Rogério Ceni won a title. We won with Dorival Jr., important titles. We really did. But there was still that void, right? The shadow of Jorge Jesus and what that team accomplished, what that team left the fans with, satiated the hunger for performances and titles. Not just titles, performance and titles. I don't know. It's beginning to feel like Felipe Luis may be able to cover that gap and turn that page. And if he's able to do that next year, it will be the single most important year potentially in the history of Flamengo. Libertadores, Club World Cup, Super Copa do Brasil, Brasileirão, going for the 6th title on the Copa do Brasil to tie Cruzeiro as the winningest club in that competition. A number of things, right? And remember, this is the year before the World Cup. And there are a lot of players in the Flamengo squad that are vying a place in their national teams. Leotis just called up. Others, same. So we'll see, Rafa. We'll see. But it does feel like the beginning of something grandiose. I think what you're catching those vibes is a little bit of that potential 2019-esque performance. And let's hope that's the case.
Yeah, and I also want to mention something that's, not a lot of people have been talking about, but that I think has played a part into these great fixtures, right? We talk about both final games, Flamengo's recent games in the Brasileirão against Cruzeiro and against Inter, something that I'm not used to saying. I don't even ever think I've said this sentence, but the refereeing and the VAR in the Brazilian games right now, it's been great.
It's been well above average and much better than what we're used to. One can argue whether or not the Atletico defender should have been sent off on that breakaway on the first half. Personally, I don't think so. He was too far and wide for the net to send somebody off on a final like that. But as you say, the last few matches, it could have been a coincidence. I hope not. I hope something changed. But the fact that we're not here talking about referee or VAR is a great thing. Mm-hmm. The best referees are the ones that go unnoticed, right?
Exactly.
So let's hope that that's a trend. But nothing to say. Another thumbs up. Rafael Klaus, the ref yesterday, he allowed the game to flow. He wasn't calling every little foul, every little touch.
Yep.
So what happens is he ends up being a better game and a better brand of soccer to watch, which is what the Brazilian league needs. He needs to be a more marketable product so that he can reach worldwide audiences. And in order for that to happen, the game needs to be dynamic.
Yes.
So congrats to the refs. I know you don't find yourself saying that very often, but that is true.
Well, and you talk about coincidence. I don't think it was a coincidence that both refs in both finals were named Rafael. So that's probably why they did such a good job.
Be careful, because they're going to say they were biased. Be careful.
But no, it was great. I love when a referee let them play. Don't call cheap fouls. Don't call BS fouls. That's what you see in the English league, right? They don't call they let them play, and that's what I love. I like seeing things get chippy, right? I like that little atmosphere. I've played my whole life. I enjoy that. It's a part of the game. Don't take that away. Now, to bring up as we wrap it up here, a little bit more of a down note, I guess, in the championship amidst of all the highs. At the end of the game, post-match interview, the immediate first thing we see is Gabigol, potentially the second biggest idol in Flamengo's history, I'd say, safe to say, announces his Flamengo exit, right? Amongst a huge moment for Flamengo, instead of talking about the victory and its importance, he decides to bring up that he's leaving. He takes a couple jabs at the old coach and a lot of the directors within Flamengo. Leo, as someone who's watched Gabigol's whole journey throughout the club, what's your take on his exit?
Listen, Ralph, I'll be brief because I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to piss on his history in the club, and I'm not going to be spitting on the trophies he helped lift. I was in the final there in Lima, where it was definitely the most memorable game I've ever attended, and it wouldn't have been the same if he wasn't on the pitch. So that alone, elevates him to a status. And then again, in other opportunities. That said, I guess his narcissistic side shines through again. He seizes a moment that the club is celebrating to, talk about himself and what he's choosing to do and whatnot. So, yeah, it's inappropriate, and it's uncalled for. Terrible timing, but he is a narcissistic fellow, right? And he needs that attention. Tell you what I'm gonna say is, Gabigol, thank you for everything. Thank you for providing moments that I will never forget. I really loved your first 3 years at the club, not so much the last two. And you know what? Best of luck and goodbye. Maybe if you still want to close it off in a high note, maybe you're going to have opportunities in the next few games in Brasileirão. Go out and score a few goals, and that's all good. And then after that, good luck in Cruzeiro. If any team that you want to go to, Cruzeiro probably is one of the best ones you could go to, a known friend of Flamengo. And I can only imagine the Atletico fans hearing that out yesterday. But never mind. You know what? Good luck, Gabigol. Thank you for what you've done. Next one.
Yeah, here's what I'd say, right? He's the excuse me, the biggest legend I've seen wearing the Flamengo jersey since I've been alive, right? Um, Here's what I'd say, right? Despite the bittersweet nature of it, we got to see him going out winning one more trophy. Now, I don't know how that's going to change dynamic moving forward for the rest of the season. What I would do if I was director of Flamengo after he, kind of gave a jab at a wrong moment. Next game that is in the Brasileirão, that's going to be home in Maracanã. We'll label it the Gabigol farewell game. We'll do a little walkout, let him walk through, with his trophies there, celebrate him because he did bring a good importance to the club.
Sure.
Let him play one half of football, sub him off after like 30, 40 minutes so he can get a standing ovation and send him to the plane. Let him pack his bags. I don't think we need to play him. He probably doesn't even want to play knowing he doesn't want to get injured or whatever. So, yeah, bittersweet, but let's turn the page as this is an awesome day. It was an awesome day, awesome moment for Flamengo. And, to wrap it up, this Copa do Brasil is a huge one for Flamengo. It feels like it's a big turning point in our season. And, no matter what, it's a celebration of Flamengo's heart, Flamengo's passion. The squad feels more united than ever, and something we can definitely get behind moving forward. Final thoughts on this win, Leo, and what it means for the future, and any final thoughts or words?
Yeah, great, fantastic stamp of approval for Felipe Luis to establish himself as a professional high-level coach. He has all the pedigree, all the experience, the emotional, the intellect, the emotional skills, the IQ, the EQ. The players love him. We could be at the beginning of an era. And the fact that it's just started off with this huge title, so much for the better. So I'm psyched. Let me see that trophy again, Rafa.
Yes, sir. To wrap it up, thanks for listening to this
subscribe, share
recap of the Copa America. I forgot to say it in the beginning, but thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. This historic win. Follow us, subscribe, like, and join us next time. FLAmerica, Flamengo forever. Woo! Thank you very much. God bless. Woo!